Intro to Lego Spike Prime. And I wanted to just introduce Sarah Sils. So first of all, welcome to the conference. And Sarah is a first senior mentor supporting all FIRST teams and all FIRST programs, primarily in the GTA West area, but also across the province. As a former teacher and mentor of all levels of FIRST programs, she has the knowledge, interest, and passion to present. As a recent adopter of Spike Prime, she brings an understanding of the transition from Lego Mindstorm EV3 to Spike Prime. So Sarah, did you want to take it away? And I'm going to go off camera, so you can go ahead.
It's all good. That felt very formal. It sounded really good there. And so just tonight, we're going to be learning about the Spike Prime. So just to introduce, I would like to know a little bit more about you, Lena. So if you could tell me where your team is located and maybe a little bit about your team and how you kind of came to FIRST.
Okay, so we are located in Florida, Miami.
Nice.
This is I think it's my 5th season in coaching FLL. I started working actually with Lego Bricks 7 years ago. I bought a franchise called Bricks for Kids, and then I teach STEM education with using Lego Bricks since 7 years ago.
Wow.
And then one day, I don't know why my path crossed with, I don't remember why actually, with Stacy here in Florida. And she's like the partner here for First Lego League for South Florida. And then I started working with her, and since then, well, we have my team has won Project Award first place, Rising Star 2 times, and last year we went to states. So we're going.
That's fabulous. And yeah. I see we have JP back. Are you wanting to stay in this one, or what do you think, Lena?
Jaden, are you going to stay here?
Uh-oh, we can't hear you when you're muted.
Unmute yourself.
Okay, here we go. It just sent me here. I didn't even do anything. It just sent me back here.
Oh, because you know why? Here's what I'm gonna do. Because your number says 1 in front of it, so they think that you should be in this room. So let's change it to a 2, and then maybe Joanna can send you back. So Joanna, if you can send Jaden back.
Okay, no problem.
We'll try again. I think it's because of the magic numbering system. Well, that's super cool, Linnea. Do you use the EV3 then? Is Spike Prime new for you?
Yes, it has been 7 years using EV3, so I can do it with my eyes closed.
Right.
So I decided to hire a robotics coach that even though he doesn't have experience working with Spike, he knows more about coding than me, because I felt that it was a little bit confusing for me. So
yeah,
getting to sit down and learn the system again, like I don't have the time. So I was like, okay, but then when I saw this, I'm like, okay, I need this, because even though I need to understand how it works to help the kids.
Yeah. I think this will be perfect for you then. I also worked with the EV3 and I found the transition to Spike Prime pretty easy. So okay. I'll be able to kind of let you know the changes, right?
Awesome.
All right, so today our goal is to build and program a Spike Prime robot and mostly have fun while we're doing it. So I'm just going to show you this little video about what our goal is today.
Okay.
And this is from the Lego education site. So this lesson actually came from their site.
Okay.
And they're nonverbal. There's just some music in the background. All right. Huh?
Okay.
Oh no, gosh. Okay. Let's see if I can get back to my presentation.
So I only have one spike and my team already built their robot. I don't know if that's an issue.
Oh, so you're not going to build with me today?
They already have one. So
No
I
problem.
don't want to touch that. I can work with it, but yeah, if I disassemble this, I think I'm gonna be in trouble.
Yes. Oh my gosh, look how beautiful it is. Okay, well, luckily we built, well, that's pretty funny. So sadly, mine is not built because I took it apart so that I could build it with people tonight. That's too bad. So what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and build it. It won't take me long because
So how long have you been doing this?
a little bit more about me. I was a teacher and I started with an FRC robotics team, and then we started running the FLL robotics team, and then we did FLL junior robotics team. So, you know, I've been doing that for about 10 years, I guess. And then I retired from teaching. And so I got hired by FIRST, and this is a part-time job to be a senior mentor to support our teams here in Ontario, and to allow us to, you know, kind of help people wherever they need help. So we do a variety of things. I'm sure I know we have bi-weekly meetings with other FIRST senior mentors. So I know I've met the one out of Florida, but I can't think of her name right now. I'm sorry. I was trying to think if it was Stacy or if that's the program manager, but anyways.
It says the program manager.
Right. And so they have a FIRST senior mentor in your area as well.
Aline.
Yes, that sounds right. I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sadly, you're going to watch me build a robot. This is kind of
awesome. No, it's okay.
kind of silly.
Sorry that I can't build with you.
All right. Well, so here's what we're going to do. I have my box right here, Spike Prime box, which you are very familiar with. We're going to build a very basic robot, which I guess is good because it'll be super fast. So we're going to open the box, take out the card. I've got the 2 trays on top. I'm going to take those out, and I've got the bottom available. And then I'm just going to work my way through. And I guess, Stacy, what I'll do, it's a little silly because you know all of this, but I'll talk you through it, how I would do it anyways, because then at least you'll know how you could maybe run a workshop like for a camp or something like that for outreach later. So, you know, as I said, I don't have one built, so I'm stuck building it right now anyways. So I talked to them about how this is the brain, and the reason it's heavy is because there's a rechargeable battery in it. And then I talked to them about finding these little black connectors. So in virtual world, I do a lot of this. It's this little black connector. And when I talk about these, we're going to use a lot of them. So just know whenever I say that. And so you have to be very specific, telling them we're going to put the 4, like find the button, and then we're going to put the 4 in the 4 connected. And so then we do it together. So they build and I build. And so I tell them to put it in the 4 corners, and then we stop and we kind of check, did everybody get it in those 4 corners? And it's at the end with the button. So I kind of go through it step by step. I'm not going to do that as much because you don't need to see this as much. So I'll just go through quickly. And so then I tell them where to find the parts. So the gray H I find, flip your robot over and put it at the back. And the reason we don't have them follow the instructions when we're doing virtual is it just helps build community and it feels more friendly. So instead of just opening the instructions and telling everybody to build, which I think you might do in real life, virtually we've found it's just people are more likely to turn their cameras on and get engaged more. So we just kind of step them along. We talk about how this is a caster wheel and its purpose is to glide because we're going to power the front wheels with motors, and then this back one is a caster wheel, kind of like you find at a grocery store, and they will it'll just allow it to drift. So a lot of the kids like the idea of the drift. And so then we have to put 6 connectors here. Again, I would check in with them to make sure everybody had theirs in the right place. It takes a lot longer than it does when I'm just doing it in front of you, but that'll give us more time to program, so that'll be good. We talk about the 2 different kinds of motors. There's a big motor and a smaller motor. So we're going to use the smaller motors today. There are 2 of those smaller motors. We're going to mount them. We have to make sure we have the blue part facing out. And since your team looks like a higher level team, we would talk about lining up these the open hole and the closed hole. So you would turn that until you get them lined up. And then that could be used later when you're trying to set your program. You know that they've started in a specific place, so you can be more precise with your programming. Lower level teams won't always get to that place, but it kind of allows you, it's another way of tracking where your motors are.
Yeah, it's like when we use the pick on EV3, the white pick.
Yes, and we do have those to put on the wheels with that here, but this is just another check. Maybe if you're not using a wheel, or if you are, I'm going to save the wiring for the end. Oh no, I'm wiring it to this back one. So I'm going to take my wires and connect them to the back slot. So we talk a little bit about wiring, and we talk about they only fit one way. So if it's not fitting, you have to flip it upside down.
In this one, it really doesn't matter where you put them.
No, because you can change it in the programming very easily. So I've plugged mine into A and B, but we can always change it for however yours is set up. I'll show you how to do that.
Okay.
And then we're going to put some more of those black connectors to prepare for attaching the wheel. So when we attach the wheel, we want it to be really secure. And actually that's why we used 3 connectors to hold the motor in place, was to make it more secure. Because if you only had one, you know, it could pivot around it. But if And if you have two, it could still, you could still have some shake, but by using 3 connectors, it'll be a more solid connection and less likely to be affected by the mat, or, you know, if it goes over things, you're less likely to have problems. And then on the wheels, we're also putting 2 connectors in front and back. So we can just use the axle in the center, or we could potentially use all 4 of these. But the reason we're using 2 is to give it more stability than just the axle. Because with the axe, if you just use the axle and you had a lot of power, that's stressing the axle a lot.
Okay.
And then we talk a little bit about, this is a new thing from Spike Prime, is these small connectors. So this is not something from EV3, but I like that it kind of prepares them for higher level robotics and real life. So they're called wire, whoops, I got the wrong one. They're called wire clips. And the idea is it starts to teach them about wire management, that your wires can sometimes get in the way. So they're these small clips. They've got like a,
Okay, I see it.
a slot in the middle. And so you use, I'm going to use a small red axle just to hold these together. And I'm going to put 2 of them together with this one axle. So it makes like a clip system. And I'm going to use that to clip my wires together at the back. So
That's what I was thinking right now, because I see, oh, I see the used one here.
Right. So I'm
But
going to
there
use
are others that are like going, you see this?
right, which is okay if it's not in the way, but there are times that, you know, they could get caught up in your wheels, and you want them out of the way. So I'm going to clip mine on my 2 wires here. And in higher level robotics, or even in your home, right? Like you have to think about wire management. What are you going to do with all these cables, and how can you keep them safe? So you can then adjust like where you're having it, or use more than one to kind of tidy up your wires. So that's more just an introduction to wire management. It's not really needed for this level of robot, but I like to hear that you guys are using it. And now to put the wheels on, I'm going to add these short axles. We talk a little bit about them about how they measure in Lego World, which you probably know. So in Lego World, if they say it's a 3 axle, that means it's 3 Lego studs. So you can measure it using a Lego block.
Yeah.
So it's a 3 axle, and I'm going to put one of those in each of my motors.
Yeah, I always told them that we have a ruler, even though it doesn't look like a ruler.
Oops. Oh, so I put those in, and then I'm going to get the wheels. And the wheels are different than Spike Prime, than EV3, because they're like a little more grippy. So Lego feels it's a big improvement over the wheels of EV3. I'm not sure it is, but it'll be interesting to see in competition if it makes a difference. They feel that it's not as affected by bumps on the mat, like if the mat's not perfectly flat. It'll be more forgiving.
And also, like, the rubber doesn't come off. That's one of the problems that we had a lot with the other wheels, you know. Sometimes when you use a wheel, then the rubber comes off easily.
That's true. I am just looking for, they do have the little pointers that you mentioned to be able to track where your wheels are. And in Spike Prime, they look They look like this. Oh, against my shirt, maybe is best.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to put those on the wheel just facing forward. And then it also is a more visual way for me to track, you know, how many rotations or where my wheel's starting from.
Which one is better for spike? You know, I always work more with rotations than other thing, but with spike, is it better to use rotations or centimeters? I don't know. What do you consider is better? Or easier when we are talking about programming?
I would say time is not good because that kind of depends a lot on how strong your battery is. So if your battery's not at the same power level it was when you programmed it, then it won't go the same distance. So time is not a good one. So rotations is probably good because you can also measure it. You can use the math. So if you have the measurement of the wheel, then you can measure on the mat how many rotations it should be. And I don't know how that would compare with centimeters. I don't know, maybe, sorry, or inches, like using that kind of measurement.
Yeah.
I think they would be similar. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no opinion.
No.
All right, I think that's the main part of the robot. And so then what we're going to do is we're going to add a touch sensor to it. And so the touch sensor, the sensors look a little different, so maybe I'll show them to you. So they have, they're all these black and white ones. So this one with the double eyes is the infrared sensor.
Okay.
And with the single eye is the color sensor. And then the one that has the black thing that kind of goes in and out, that's your touch sensor. So they look a little different. And I'm going to use some of those connectors again because we use a lot of those connectors. And I'm just putting them on the back of the colors, sorry, of the touch sensor. And then I'm going to get these nice pink ones. I think, I'm not sure if these are new. I think they're calling them waffle ones.
Yeah, those, I think there were some, I think black ones. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is maybe a bit enhanced. And the idea is it helps you change direction. So if you need to, you know, build in a different direction, sometimes you're kind of stuck with Lego. So
Yeah.
So I think they've got a few new parts that kind of assist with that. So that's good. Kids always get frustrated when they're like, there's no way to attach it.
Yeah. Yeah, it happened last year. It's one of the attachments that we had.
All right, and I'm just putting in these little, I don't know, half axles, I guess you would say. They're like a connector, they're tan, they're like a connector on one side and an axle on the other side.
That's a tech connector, okay, axle pin friction.
What is it?
Axle pin friction. Is it the tan one that is friction or the blue one? I'm asking my husband.
Yeah, because the inside part rotates and then the outside part you can connect a wheel to. We are not connecting a wheel to it though.
Yeah, the black one, the one that you show me, the black one is a tech pin friction. And then the tan one is an axle pin non-friction. Because the difference with those is that with the pins, the ones that, the black one, there's a black one and there's a gray one. So one is friction and one is non-friction. I don't know if that box has a gray one, but Lego has a gray one. that it's
Yeah.
exactly the same as that one, but gray. So one is friction and the other one is not friction. And then the tan one that you show me has a blue version, and the blue version is the friction one. So the tan one is non-friction and the blue one is friction.
Well, thank you, Lena. I feel like I just learned a new thing. That's good.
Yeah, so I always tell my students, you don't worry about the colors. Like, you know, sometimes I give them black and white instructions. So I told them, don't worry about the colors. The Lego can be any color, just worry about the size, that you get the same amount of studs and all that stuff. And like the shape, you need to worry about the shape. But with the pins, you need to worry about the color of the pins, because if we put the wrong one, then our creation is going to explode. I always tell them. So they laugh. Like, yeah, one let it move and then the other one no. So if you're using a motor and you put the wrong pin, it's not going to move how you want it to move.
That's cool. That's great advice as well. And then they have lots of different things in the box to make eyes. I don't know, apparently that's what we want to do, is we want to make eyes. So there's lots of different attachments, different pupils, different irises. I just chose this kind. The spinny
That's funny.
eyes.
I didn't see those.
Yeah, so then there's black ones or white ones, and then they have little tiny different kind of eyeballs. They're in the same one as the satellite.
So the robot that we're building right now, you got it from just the app?
I did, just from the Lego education. It's called the Rhino. It's supposed to look like a rhinoceros when we're done. Except for I opted to make the kind of silly eyes. Maybe I should go back to the one it told me. It told me to do the fancier eyes, but I was like, oh, maybe I'll just do a quicker version for Lena, so she doesn't have to watch me build so long.
Oh, it's okay.
And then we're putting those on the touch sensor because we're trying to build something that looks like a rhinoceros, so we have to give it eyes, of course. So we have the eyes up for our rhinoceros. And then I'm putting a little axle, the 3 size, on the front of the touch sensor to extend it. And that's where we're going to add the rhinoceros horn.
Okay. Nice.
You need a lot of imagination to make this look like a rhinoceros, I'm just going to say. So then they're having me just use a Lego brick and connect this kind of long, slopey black one. And then I am, oh yes, putting a special black thing to hide the 4 dots that was on the black one, because then it wouldn't look anything like a rhinoceros horn. So I've put a round one on to smooth that out. Oh yeah. Okay, so it's time to attach that to our sensor.
So lessons do I have to do?
Wait, give me a second, sorry. 2. Did you finish?
152.
Okay, go.
What's 18 plus 77?
No, I'm here in a meeting. I can't. Sorry, what did you say?
And I was just finishing the build. So I've just connected the front of the rhinoceros horn. So there, now it looks very much through the eye and the rhinoceros horn that we're going to be pushing against something. Okay. And then this wire we're bringing out, and I think it has me connecting to C. So that's our robot. We've got it built.
Okay.
And now we can go to the programming, which I know you want. All right. So our goal with our first program is just to make it drive forward and stop. So I don't know if you have Spike Prime
Yeah.
that you can open.
Yes.
Oh, perfect. But if you can, then I'd like to start a new project. So plus new project. So you can get to that from your home page.
And what do I put, icon or word?
We're going to put word blocks and then create.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me share my screen. That's what I meant to be doing. So you can follow along with my screen. So you should see something like this. Does that look familiar?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. And so then we talk about it always has a block when program starts so that the computer knows to start or some kind of start. So this is where like our palette where we're going to build the program. These are all our blocks that we can build with. It looks very similar to Scratch for the kids. So some of the kids have done Scratch at school.
Yeah.
And if you scroll down, you can see like these pink ones are all about how you move the robot. The purple ones are all about lighting up the robot. Purple is all about sound. So these dots on the far left, you can use to jump. Like if you know, oh, I want a sensor, I can just hit this and basically it scrolls all the way down for you. So it just, so you don't have to scroll as far. That's the only purpose of those dots. Maybe a reminder what's available. So we're going to start with the movement blocks so we can just make our robot move. And we're going to bring in, we have to tell the robot where the motors are. So we're going to bring in set movement motors to A and B. So I told you we had plugged ours in to A and B. So that's all right. But if yours is plugged in somewhere else, you just click on this. And you can decide, oh, my motors are plugged into C and D. So you just click where they are. And you can even do it opposite if you're like, actually, I've got mine into E and D, like wherever yours are. So that's how you would change that.
Okay, so.
And then you always have to tell your motors how fast you want them to go. The default is 50%, which is a good place to start. Like when you're working with robots, you probably know you don't always want to go full speed because you can, get into trouble more quickly, I guess, run into things, or it's a little, can be a little harder on your robot to maintain that. So, but you also, there's a time limit on the match. So you want to keep moving, right? So it comes auto set as 50%. And then you can adjust it. The way you adjust it is you just click on it, it highlights it, and then you can type in whatever you want.
Moving set movement speed. Okay. Okay.
You doing okay?
Yeah.
All right. And then the next thing you need to tell your robot is which direction and for how long. So these are pretty common things with moving a robot. You always have to tell it where is it going to get its power, what speed, how much power, and then which direction. And then the arrows also are just drop downs. So you can change it kind of like with your EV3, right? On those programming blocks, you can click and change. It's just a little bigger to see. So we're going to leave it at going straight. And it comes set at 10 centimeters. So that's okay. We can just leave it at that. But you'll see if you drop down, we could change it to rotations or degrees, seconds, inches. And then we want it to stop. So I'm going to drag over the stop moving. So that's a very basic, I'm just going to drive forward a certain distance and then stop. Which was our goal, drive forward and stop.
Okay.
But before it will work, up here in this top corner, you see this connect, and it's currently blinking red because I have no connection. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to remind me the steps. So first, I want to turn my hub on, And so to turn it on, you're going to just push and hold, but you have to hold for, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds.
Okay.
Until you hear that happy sound. And it's the same when you want to turn off. You have to push and hold. It kind of does like a countdown. And until you turn it off. And so you kind of listen for that happy sound. And that was the mistake I made the first time. I only pushed it for a short time, so I thought it was off. And then the next time I went to use it, my battery was drained. And I was like, why? How did it drain? I never even used it. And it was because I hadn't turned it off all the way.
Yeah.
So then up in the top corner, there's a button for Bluetooth. So you're going to push that button and it's going to start beeping at you because it's looking for a connection. So on your computer now, you should have a choice to connect. And with your team, you might have multiple robots. So I know this one's Robot Gal, but if you had like 2 or 3 robots, it would let you choose which one you're connecting to. So I'm going to click connect and it's going to search for it. And if it finds it, it just will revert right back to my program. So you kind of know like, oh, it's all good.
Okay.
Did yours connect?
Yeah.
Nice. Also, I want you to notice up at the top, it tells you your motors. So it says you've got one motor plugged into A. It's currently at 0 degrees. You have another one at B, which is also at 0 degrees. And you have a touch sensor that you've plugged into C. So it kind of is a way that you can reference, like now down here in my program, I've set it up for A and B. So I can see like, oh yeah, I have a motor in A and B. So for troubleshooting, that's helpful.
Why yours are at 0 and mine are not?
You know, I wondered if this is to do with how I set them because I turned them to match. So if no.
Oh, because you did what you told me?
No, that's not having an effect. I don't know. Maybe because it hasn't turned yet. Let's see what happens after we run the program if that changes.
Okay.
So I'm going to go down to the bottom of my screen, the yellow play button. And if I'm going to set it on the table behind me, so hopefully you can see it. Put my box away because I'm done building. All right, let's see how it goes. So we've got the little robot on the table behind me, and I'm going to click play. It's going to download. And it moved and stopped. It looked like it moved backwards.
What my kids realized that one of the difference with the EV3 was that this one is slower to start than the EV3. Like when you press to start, it takes a few seconds. The EV3 was like immediately go.
That's true. It takes that time. I'm not sure if here on there's a bunch of dots here that refers to storing your programs. So if you store your program, perhaps you don't have that delay. I know when because right now I'm downloading it and then playing it. So I think
so what's the difference between download and stream? Stream will be only to play through the computer?
I don't know. Looks like it's ready.
Yeah, you're so when I put stream,
yeah, then it just goes right away.
When you download, it just takes the time to download.
Right. So I think the streaming is like and I'm also just learning, Lena. So I think the streaming would be like, for competition, you load all your programs onto your robot, and then you can select which program you're using for your runs on the table. So I think that's a similar thing. Like, I think you can download them onto your robot and select which one. But what I'm showing you today is we're going to be making changes to the program. So every time we're downloading a new program and then running a new program. So I think that's the lag you're going to see. But I think for competition, if you store them on your robot, then you'll alleviate that delay.
Got it.
So tell them there's hope.
Yeah, got it.
And I notice I'm no longer in a box. I have a different pattern on my screen now. So that's reminding me that I'm just streaming. So if I click play now, it happens very fast because it's just replaying that same program.
Yeah.
But if I want to change the program, because I'm putting in a new program, then I have to go back to this download option.
Mm-hmm.
And now if I make a change to the program, it'll do that delay where it downloads and then runs the program.
Okay.
Did yours move?
Yes.
Yay. All right. That makes me happy. All right. And then we talk to them about other ways you can make it move. So we talk about what we had talked about before, whether you're using centimeters or rotations. And then if you're using rotations, that's when, and I'm noticing now my degrees on my motors are changing. They look like they're not 100% accurate. So maybe that's why you wouldn't use degrees unless perhaps you can make it be more accurate than by using degrees than by rotations. I don't know. Like maybe, let's see, I wonder if I can zero it and then say rotate 90 degrees. I don't know. And then maybe it would be super precise. Let's see if I can reset these. Does it notice if yeah, so now I can see when I'm turning my wheel that I'm affecting the numbers on A. So I can try and get it exactly to 0. Look how hard it is. I'm at 1 degree and I'm going to change the other one. See if I can change that down to 0. Oh my gosh, this will keep your kids busy for hours. I don't know if this would be worth it. It's super accurate. Okay, so I'm close. I'm at
just a second, please. Sorry, give me just a second.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, moving it will do that, but
yeah, so I just tried to adjust it down to 0. It's very hard. So I have 1 at 0 and 1 at 2 degrees. And I'm just going to check with Joanna. Joanna, did we finish at 7?
6:45 is sort of the
we are due.
So
that's the problem. Okay. Thanks for the reminder then. I thought it was 7. So, and we're super close to our big finish. I'm going to try this 90 degrees and see if it goes exactly.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
So I'm curious now. Oh yeah, one went plus 90 and one went minus 90 because the motors are reversed, right? I think degrees would be difficult for a team to use. So I would suggest probably rotations or distance. And then we didn't get to the sensor, but I'm just gonna, sorry, I thought we had a couple more minutes. I'm just gonna show you briefly how that works. So you'll know, okay?
Okay.
So I'm gonna pull that apart. And I'm going to bring in a start moving straight.
Start moving straight. Okay.
And then I'm going to bring in a control. So I'm going to hit the control or scroll down to here, and I'm going to choose a wait until. And then there's this diamond. So I'm going to bring this wait until. And the diamond means it's looking for a sensor. So I'm going to go to the sensor, and I have a touch sensor. So I want to bring in a touch sensor, looks like this. And I want it to wait until that touch sensor is pressed. And ours is in motor C. I can see up here, it's in motor C. So I don't need, let's see, I don't need this straight and how many degrees anymore. So I'm going to just put that back. And I'm going to add the stop moving at the bottom. Just so you can see what it looks like to add a sensor. And so then if we try that, it's going to drive forward until it bumps into something. So I can demonstrate that here. I'm going to push play. Oh, I had it going backwards, but it stopped when I had, I think I'm going to change this to B and A. B and A. Let's try it again. So that it drove forward.
Okay.
Because my motors were reversed. So I think that was it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Right. The big finish was just to ask, like, if you found that helpful, and
Absolutely.
you know, point you to the resources. So just go to the Lego education site. That's where all those lessons. And I know Annika is going to post this presentation, so it has some of the links in there for you if you'd like that. But thanks for coming. It was really nice to get to know you, and I'll look for a technique at competition at Worlds.
Yes. Absolutely. That's awesome. Thank you.